Do I click continue? Yeah. Continue. Yeah.
Right, ready?
Yeah, super.
Welcome, Lisa. Welcome to series 2 of One for the Road. I'm so grateful that you've joined me today. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, thank you for asking me. It's wonderful. I love podcasts. I'm a true podcast fan. So yeah, anything where we can kind of speak from the heart. I think it's really nice for the listeners to listen in and associate with everything.
Yeah, it's really important actually. And I saw you in the press recently that you're coming up to 6 years sober, right?
Yeah, it'll be August this year. It'll be six years. And do you know what? It's truly flown by. And I can sit here with you now, with my hand on my heart, and I know this in myself. I don't truly believe I'll ever drink again. I don't.
No, I
Yeah,
agree with you there. Some people say you don't know that, but when I stopped as well, it was that decision where I thought, this has got to be it for me forever. There's no second chance for me.
yeah.
And I've never had a sip of alcohol since I gave up. And like what you just said, I feel the same. This is a complete life change, and I feel so grateful for that as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And do you sometimes feel like that it's other people analyzing you?
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
funny because, especially in the beginning, I'm a 6-foot bloke that was the party animal that
Yes.
was always the one, get Dave out, get him out, because it's going to be a real night out and whatever. And when
Yes.
I said I was going to stop, no one believed me,
Yeah, me too.
out of the gang. And they were going, no, you won't do it. And in a way, Lisa, it made me want to do it even more.
Yeah. Yeah. That was what it was like for me. I knew for health reasons I wanted to make change with my physique, and I knew that, when people say empty calories, like what really does that mean? Do you know what I mean? It just means you just drink far too much, basically. And I was like, well, this is going to have to be part of it, not necessarily giving up for good, just like kind of knocking it on the head and see if these empty calories do make sense in the world of weight loss. And oh my God, did they? I think it was part and parcel of it initially. So what started off to be sort of a month, and could I do it? And could I go to the next christening without, toasting with champagne and feeling like the odd one out, as it were? It seemed so easy, so incredibly easy. And then before I knew it, a month became 3 months, and 3 months became 6, and 6 became 9. And once you've done a year, like you're saying, when your friends were like, oh, it's Dave life and so the party, that's what I used to get, because it was like, oh, it's Lisa, we'll have great, there'll be a tray of shots, brilliant, the Archer's Peach will be coming out and you won't be able to see the tray, there'll be that many shots on it. And that was me. But what they slowly realized is I don't need drink to be me. Drink doesn't enforce my personality, doesn't bring my personality on. I probably just sing more songs from Wicked when I'd had more wine, But yeah, drink didn't define me. And once those cogs in your head make that realization that you plus alcohol makes fun, that's when you're on, I believe, the road of correction, the self-correction that I needed to do.
Mm. And I also heard that you were drinking a bottle a night. I think I heard that on Loose Women, and sometimes a bottle and a half. And I find with the clients that I work with that once you go from 1 to 2, that is a really quick, slippery slope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that where you thought you were going before you knocked it on the head?
Well, I've spoken openly, both in the press and on Loose Women, about this. And when I lost my beloved mum, I didn't think I'd be able to claw myself back from it. Initially, again, I've spoken about this. The doctor gave me Valium, of which I took for 14 days. And I can swear on my mum's ashes now. I remember discussions within those 14 days of being on the Valium where they were discussing mum's funeral and whether we would let mum wear her watch in the casket. And I was literally, Dave, sat there, and my Auntie Joyce, my dad, my Uncle Jess, and my Uncle John were all in this conversation. And, I wanted to speak and nothing would come out. And then I Googled, Dr. Google, right? Yeah. And of course, that is part and parcel. The Valium basically numbs you. It numbs the first stages of grief that you're going through. And I realized, no, never, ever for me. And never, ever in my life prior had I ever taken an antidepressant. And I haven't since, apart from those 14 days when mum initially passed. But what I did realize, which then therefore became my trigger for the bottle and a half, was that Malbec was a phenomenal number, and I could still speak, and I could still, sit around the table with dad, and it would help me sleep. That's what it was. I was going through, which I've now discussed massively with grief counselors over the years of still going through my grief, and that will never, ever, ever end. It's with me every minute of every day. But you go through this stage of why me? Why have you taken my mum? Why is my mum gone? Why haven't you taken that low life from da da da, And basically with that in mind, I realized that, the wine, cue what they say, took the edge off. It did. It truly, truly did. But it's when you think to yourself, right, I've got to go to a family event now, and I don't want to be drinking that much. That's when I realized, it doesn't have to be there all the time in your life. And I truly don't think and I've spoken openly about this. I don't think that I would ever wear the badge and say, was I an alcoholic? I truly don't think I was. I think I was very, very dependable on drink. And as some people might take an antidepressant, as it were, that was mine. It was my comfort blanket. And I will always say that. Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, it's emotional blunting, isn't it? And
Yeah.
Recently I visited a place that I went on holiday with my family. I was about 12. And shortly after that, when I was 14, my mum left, and I didn't see her for a year. And that's really when I started to drink,
Really?
because I was grieving for my mum.
Of course you were.
And the trouble is, when you're that age, your brain hasn't developed, and you get into the wrong crowd, which I did. And it kind of defined me for the years ahead. It really shaped me for being this insecure lad that was accepted into the group as one of the boys. And
Being the jester.
exactly that, a jester. And that went on. But what happened, Lisa, was when I was in my 30s, I started going to a local pub, and that changed everything because it became daily drinking for me.
Right.
And then there was an off license over the road that I thought, do you know what? I might just nip in there and get a couple of cans of cider or something just to have after with dinner, And then it just escalated. And the thing is, it's a highly addictive drug, and it can take your whole life over, can't it?
Oh, 100%. And like you just said then, it went from, the gang to the off license to the pub. It's the simplicity of how accessible it is. We've got the brilliant storyline in Emmerdale that people are really getting hooked onto at the moment with, Liv's character, which my character's dealing with her as well. Through alcoholism. And what's brilliant is you see online and people say, oh, why is it going on so long? Well, you can associate with this. I can surely associate this. You don't just stop drinking when you drink dependent. You don't just stop overnight. And obviously Liv's character has gone through this turmoil where she's blaming herself for a scenario that's happened. And what's happened is the writers have done a great job because they are telling the true tale of an addict, where you can walk to that off license, get a large bottle of vodka and wipe yourself out for 2 days if you want. Because you don't want to face reality. You don't want to face what's going on in the world. And that's what we're doing in the storyline. And I'm so proud, Dave Emmerdale, that not only are they tackling the story of alcoholism, they're doing it in a minor, because as you've just said, when it starts at that young age, what age will it stop? You'd like to think they'd get therapy. You'd like to think they'd get emotional help and support from family members and friends. But it's always down to the individual. And I think you can probably associate with me with this. It's when you look in the mirror and you go, I look a little bit crappy, I don't look like myself. And my own personal drive, my own personal get up and go that people know me as, everyone says to me, I'm like a sunshine. I gleam positivity. That's me. I'm not pretending to be something that I'm not. And I've always been like that. Of course, I have down days, but I keep that to myself. But what you realize, what you're saying is when you've got these groups Are you being invited to go out for you, or are you being invited because you're the one that's going to be the last one standing? You're going to be paying for all the drink because you don't want to go home. And that's when it dawned on me. It was like, I remember thinking to myself, why does everybody come back to my house? Well, because there was a bar, right? There was an endless supply of drink. And, you know, if it slightly ran out one Sunday afternoon, you'd nip to the supermarket and you get more. And then I realized it was like, why am I always paying for all the drink? Why am I always paying for the clear up bill? Why am I waking up and there's, you know, a bag of rice got popped because someone thought it was hilarious to get a bag of rice out the cupboard and pop it? Well, you do when you're leathered. It's like, it's when you wake up, you go, look at the state of my house. It looks like a squat. You know, my house that I care so much about. And then over time, it's like, it's always mine. It's always my house. And, you know, I pride myself on being a generous person. It's not that I begrudged people, because I didn't, but I wanted to keep the party going. And I drove that for many, many years. And the irony that when I spoke to my grief counselor, one of the things that he flagged up with me, whereas I obviously have an issue about it, is I blame that party time of where I was hungover the next day, where I wasn't, you know, myself, as hours I could have gained when mum was alive. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
No?
My mum passed 3 years ago, and it was she started to look unwell a couple of years before that, but there was unfinished healing that needed to be done, you know. And I was told that basically she was going to die, and in the last few days, I spent it with her and her husband, and I told her I loved her, which was the first time in my life.
Beautiful.
And I was with her when she passed, and that was difficult for me. It was probably the best thing for her.
Yeah.
But I was drinking then, and I just went on an absolute bender after
You
that.
numbed
But
it.
yeah, I did numb it. But it was not long after that that I stopped. And I do feel that mum had a big part in that, because I feel her with me every day. And I think she saw
Same.
me in the state I was in, and for whatever she did, I
Yeah.
feel that she helped me on it.
And she'll be with you today, Dave. I truly, truly believe that. And you'll get signs, and you will know that, because that's how I live my life. Because I need my mum with me. Even though it kills me that I can't pick up my phone and go, oh, do you know what, mum? I got nominated for an award today, and how proud she would be. You know, the mum that took me through drama school forever and supported my career from me being, you know, from 9 years old, and here I am, 45 in July. You know, I need that. I know that I need that. Just like people need a drink, they go, I need a drink. I need my mum. And I don't have her. I don't have her here.
Mm.
So now part of my emotional sort of link moving forward without her, I'm proud to say, mum, I can do this. You know, I'm walking this path on my own with no antidepressant, with no Malbec, you know, no gin and tonic in my hand. I'm doing it the way I've got to deal with it, the natural way. And that's what I want to tell everybody. That I think, I don't, you might not agree with me with this, Dave, but I think people fear themselves not being the party animal. They're fearful of not being the life and soul, you know, the one that's sort of, you know, disco dancing, but then on the floor at the end of the night. They want to be told that. Well, I don't want to be that person anymore. I just want to be the person that never tells anyone they're leaving, because that's the worst mistake in the world. If you tell people you're going, you get rugby tackled. The best thing is to go for a piddle, don't come back and WhatsApp them at midnight and say, I'm safe and I'm home in bed.
Yeah, or the next morning they don't remember you leaving.
Exactly. They don't remember it anyway. Yeah.
I know. But do you think that you've changed since you stopped drinking?
Absolutely. That is the biggest part of my change. Yes, I lost all that weight and I'm so proud of it. And people can say it's a healthier lifestyle, but I've changed mentally. You know, I'm not fearful of what people think of me. I don't care. I know I've got the biggest heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm there for everybody. People at work say, you know, you're always giving everyone advice, and, you know, you're like a sunshine. Well, you don't really get better comments than that and compliments than that. But that's who I am. And I think before I wasn't a sunshine, I'd say I was a bit of a grey cloud. because I wasn't happy in myself. And I was always so bothered about pleasing people. And now I don't need to do that. It's when you have pure natural self-acceptance, and that's what I have. This is who I am, who I'm going to be. And do you know what, Dave, as well? I've said many a time, I feel like my life is so quiet, and some might say simple, might say boring. Do I care? No. My life is the way I want it to be. You know, I go to work, I do my job to the best of my ability. I work very hard, creatively, how, you know, I want to play scenes, and I don't just like sort of turn up on set. I do a lot of work at home. I make notes on what I want to do and how I want the scene portrayed. And you can work with the other actors and directors with a completely clear head. And then I come home. I love my television. I love my podcasts, you know, my radio, and my family of my world. My other half, Al, he's my rock. He still drinks. And people go, how'd you cope? How'd you cope if Al's having a little? I'm like, because I do. It's like saying, well, I loathe aubergines. I'll still cook aubergines for Al, you know, but I'm not gonna eat them. So yeah, I've just embraced simplicity. And I've realized so much. You know, another thing that goes with drinking and, you know, partying in London was, which is a really prominent thought that I have here now, is like things like you've got to have the best designer clothes and you've got to have that best designer handbag. You don't have to have that, you know, just because of my job. It's absolute nonsense. And I see it now when you see these like kind of reality programs and all they want is the next Louis Vuitton luggage. It doesn't make you as a person, doesn't define you. It actually makes you go, why have you spent, you know, 1,300 quid on a suitcase? It's ludicrous, you know. So all those things that I've realized, and I think I listen. I like to listen more. And I think I was just a lot louder, you know, and I'm still loud now, you know, but I was a foghorn. I was, you know, you'd hear me, you know, if I was in Leeds, you'd hear me in Rochdale. You know, it's true that, and I'm not that person anymore. And then I play a character, Mandy Dingle, of course, who's very, you know, she's very in your face. She's very confident. She's the, you know, the queen of the family. You don't mess with her, you know, but I kind of live vicariously now through Mandy Dingle, you know, and she gets leathered. Mandy Dingle obviously has every shot known to man. She nicks bottles from behind the bar. So I can enjoy my old life via Mandy Dingle.
Oh, that's lovely. But do you know what? I completely hear you about what you say about like buying yourself things and that. I saved up to get a Rolex Batman, right, which was, it was a fortune, right? So I bought one watch, sold that, and I carried on, right? Because then I used to walk around it on my wrist thinking I was the dog's, how's your father's, you know?
Yeah. Why do we do that?
Well, I think it's because you lack self-esteem, self-worth, all that inside of you, which is really important. And now I had it nicked actually in the end, which was,
no,
you know, sod's law. But I now walk around in an Apple Watch. I've just taken it off because it started talking when we began this podcast. I don't know if you heard it.
No.
It said, "Is this that woman from Emmerdale?" No, it didn't. No. I don't worry about things anymore. I am so much richer in myself of self-worth, confidence. And I get up in the morning and I actually think, do you know what? I'm proud of you, boy. Absolutely. You know, and I like myself. Where before, as you said earlier about looking in the mirror, I used to look in the mirror and think, you absolute arsehole. What
I can relate to that fully. I can. And it's weird what you say about the Rolex. I call it like the pretty woman moment, you know, where she's got all the bags.
Yeah.
I remember being in London and walking down Bond Street, and I'd gone in every designer shop. And bear in mind, I was enormous back then, right? None of the designer shops, clothes shops, anything fit me. So I would buy every handbag. I'd buy watches. I'd buy shoes. I'd buy scarves, all designer. Then I had that kind of moment of like, oh, look at me, look at me. And it means nothing. It's utter nonsense. But I actually go back there in my head going, what on earth was I thinking? Why was that important? And I think it goes hand in hand with being very young and being in the public eye from such a young age. having to mature and having to take ownership of the person you are. And of course, if I'd gone on Bond Street and walked out with 9, 10, 11 designer handbags, you know, and all these shopping bags to have the pretty woman moment, what I'd then do is go to a beautiful hotel and have loads of cocktails, because it was like, it's kind of all went hand in hand of this, maybe as you might say, pretend life I was living, where fundamentally I probably wasn't that happy back then. Yeah, it makes total sense.
You started Emmerdale, was it in 1995?
Oh, well, I was 17 when I joined.
17.
Yeah. Yeah, so young.
And I mean, I've worked in TV. I was a handyman on 60-Minute Makeover for 10 years.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. And in the last 3, I worked with Peter Andre, and he actually doesn't drink at
No.
all. I've never seen him drink. But part of TV was obviously going out and getting absolutely bladdered. So was it like that for you when you were in your teens?
Yeah, fully. I mean, every function you went to, but isn't that Dave a British thing? You know, why when they think of British people, do they think of us like in Torremolinos with a pound and a pint? But it's true. Oh, the Brits are coming. Whereas the French kind of like nice and sip some posh Sancerre wine. You know, we're kind of we're spoken about as like, hey, let's get leathered. Well, I was never that. It was more fun. I just always wanted to have fun. And when you go into all these do's in London, award ceremonies, you know, you take 3 steps into the function room and there's a tray of champagne. So drink. And it's something you don't even think about. You just take it, you drink it. And before you know, there's another guy coming with another tray and they've got another load of champagne. And then after that, you go to another hotel afterwards and then you're on the wine or you're on the G&Ts. And before you know it, it's 3 a.m. and you know, you're passing out in the hotel bedroom. And that was part and parcel of it. Especially, I remember like sort of when I was, the time when I was filming You've Been Framed over those 5 years, we mostly filmed 3 or 4 episodes per day. So of course, by the end of it, I was absolutely drained. You know, we had a live audience. You've got to keep them entertained throughout the show. So I was giving for hours. So it's that old chestnut, isn't it? Like, oh, come on, let's go across the road to the hotel and we'll have a bottle of wine. We'll wind down. Where does that sentence come from? Yeah. Why can it not be, let's all be our really great friends together who we love as a crew, like you will have had with your crew. Let's go over and just chat. But it seems weird that if you were the one who said, okay, I'm just going to order a mint tea, that you're the alien in the room. You're not the alien in the room at all. It's completely normal, but that's how everything's perceived. Let's go over and get in a bottle of wine and wind down. And again, that's what it is. So my argument then is, well, do you want me to take a sleeping tablet because I'm doing it to wind down and to go to sleep? No, my body, I am so tired, I will sleep. That's it. And it's when your cogs tell you that and that message finally lands.
It's true. It's absolutely true. And when you do become sober, you have to find things because you've got more time on your hand for a start. And, you know, when I say more time, when you're drinking, you think about it all day anyway, because when you wake up in the morning, you're thinking about how much you drank the night before. Did you text someone? Did you fall out with someone? And
beer fear.
I mean, my wife in the end used to email me because if ever it was a WhatsApp and I saw it, it would start an argument again. So she would email me a list of what I'd said. And when I read it, I was like, I can't believe what
self-torture. Yeah,
you know?
I know. But don't you feel like, looking back, that it's a bit like me playing a part as an actor? It's kind of, you put on like your superhero costume, because while you're plastered, it's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter because you're in superhero mode. And, oh, did I offend somebody? Did I say something that I shouldn't have? And that's where we get the line Dutch courage. You know, what the hell is it? It drives me mad that, oh, well, she needs, what? It drives me crackers. What is Dutch courage? What is it? It's nonsense. You don't need it.
No, and sometimes when you step outside your comfort zone, it's growth. I did a talk in a pub in Forest Hill, right? And I was 6 weeks sober.
Wow.
And when I got there, I walked up and there was the Peroni on tap, which was my favorite. Right. And it was packed. And I've never done any public speaking. I could be on the telly on the show and it wouldn't matter because it's recorded. But public speaking, and there was a full crowd there, and there were 6 of us getting up, and I was second to last. And I
I bet
was
you were
sitting
so
there.
nervous.
Oh my God, I was sitting there twiddling my thumbs, and the bar was, the barman was pouring the beers and everyone was getting sozzled and that. But
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
got up there actually, and I said what I had to say, I got a standing ovation at the end. And
Oh,
that was like, oh my God, this is a fantastic
there's
feeling.
your
And
natural high. That's your
the
natural
natural
high.
dopamine hit,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
of,
yeah.
and then I realized after that, there's so much more to life. And then my wife always said, there's so much more to you, Dave, than who you are. And she's right. I'm 2.5 years sober, but I have achieved so much in that 2.5 years.
Bet you
And
have.
I'm knocking on a bit now. I'm not a spring chick like but
Uh,
this is the second series of podcasts. I'm ambassador for Alcohol Change UK. I
Fabulous.
do a lot in the sober community. I'm a coach, and all that wouldn't have been achieved if I was still drinking. You live such a shallow life, don't
Yeah.
you?
But look what you're saying, right? You doing all these talks and you going to these gatherings together, right? Would I be right in saying, Dave, that you're learning more in your sober life than you ever learned in your life prior?
Oh, absolutely.
There we are.
Yeah, I don't even remember my 40s, because that is when I lived on my own, Lisa, and I'll become a solitary drinker. So you talk about emotional blunting. I was drinking a litre of vodka a night. I
Wow.
was literally pouring a glass, and that would be vodka and a tiny bit of tonic, and downing it in one, just to get completely out of it quickly. So that would it would be turn off my voice in my head,
Wow.
and then I used to put Pink Floyd tracks on and lay there feeling sorry for myself, crying. But I kind of enjoyed it. I was in victim mode, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
in
yeah.
the morning I would say to people, oh my God, I've had such a bad night's sleep and I'm just getting over flu.
Mm,
I wish they'd have said to me, actually, Dave, you just stink of booze and you're
yeah.
hungover, sort your life out.
Oh my God, you've nailed it. Okay, right, you have nailed this. Okay. So part and parcel of my drinking, I then gave up the smoking as well. Now, this is the smell. Okay. That's one of the things that will never make me drink again.
Yeah, it's
Because I'm
vile.
like, Jesus, did I smell like that?
Yeah.
Like, I'd never say it to anybody. But, if anybody at work came in, and obviously pre COVID, when we could get a lot closer, right? I could tell you like instantly. And that in itself, like I call it odor pong. Odor pong is the best deterrent from drinking in the world, because it's like a really dry smell, isn't it? And only when you don't drink can you smell it. So it obviously alerts your senses. And that in itself makes me literally wear the t-shirt of no thanks, not for me. Yeah. I
It's
don't want to
disgusting,
smell it.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I can
It's
smell it a mile off as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's also different variations of odor pong with what they've drank the night before.
It absolutely is. And it
Yeah.
comes through your pores. It's just not your breath.
No.
And I remember my wife was doing a talk with Jamie Oliver at the CIUK headquarters, right?
Yeah.
And she said, please don't drink too much tonight. Before I was in the front row next to the CEO of CIUK, right? Oh, I've said that live, haven't I? And here, come on. Yeah, I thought you stank. And I said, I'll be up in a minute. And I'd already drank a bottle of wine, right?
Wow.
In that 10 minutes, I downed another bottle. Why? I have no idea. I
Wow.
got in the car in the morning in the Uber, and he wound his window down straight away. And I thought, oh my God,
That's
he's
you.
obviously got, and I was literally hanging throughout the whole morning. And Jamie was there, a few people, faces and whatever. And all I was like thinking about, I wasn't enjoying the moment. I wasn't enjoying my wife's speech up on the stage in front of 500 people. I was actually in this pit of doom
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where I was so, and that was the other thing, Lisa. I never ever said I ever had a hangover, but I realise now that my
You're
whole
topping
life
up.
was a
Yeah,
hangover.
yeah. And if you ever felt that initial grog, it was, oh, and then you go, oh, I don't do lunchtime drinking. Yes, you do. Look at your watch, look at your clock on the wall. It's
Yeah.
1 o'clock. You're having a big glass of wine, aren't you? That's, and can I ask you another thing? Did you blame people? When you got flashbacks that time, would you say the blame game? Because this has been flagged up to me. So many people who I've spoken to who now are sober, who do not drink, they realize that they toss the blame game to the ones they love the most. So for you, it would be your wife. So it's always somebody else's fault rather than taking ownership that it's like, no, you're drinking morning, noon, and night, and you're using it as a sleeping agent. Would you agree with me on that one?
Yeah, I do. And I think that's the frustration that we feel with ourselves, and you always take it out on the closest ones,
Yeah.
And I used to say, if it wasn't for the kids, if it wasn't for this. But, I quite often say that you find any excuse to have a drink, because you can have a good day, a bad day. Actually, nothing's happened today. Let's have a drink anyway. Oh, look, the sun's come out. Should we go in the garden and have a drink?
Yeah. But that, again, that goes back to what I was saying about the British mentality. Yeah.
Do you know what, Lisa? I rode my bike last year to Paris, right? We did a charity thing.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was for child slavery charity, IPHM, I think. And we got to Paris, and I always had this perception that the French loved their wine, but we were in this big square, and I was sober, obviously, so I was one of the only ones drinking Perrier.
Yeah.
And like everyone was having beers and that. And when I looked around, actually, all age groups of the French people, it was a Saturday night in this beautiful square near Paris. I could hardly see anyone drinking.
Really?
It was incredible for me. It's
Wow.
like, it is the British, isn't it?
Yeah.
The British have got. I went down. I live near Battersea, right? And they've made the high street bit there pedestrianised at the weekend.
Yeah.
And I was down there at 10:30 the other morning, and it was heaving with people drinking.
Yeah.
10:30 on a Saturday morning.
No, I can relate to that fully. Like me and Al went to Krakow. Like it's been one of my places that I want, I love traveling. Travel's a really big part of who I am. And again, it's not for everybody, architecture and culture. I get that. That's fine. We love it. It's very us. But again, like you said, in the main square, beautiful horses. I'm looking around that you've never seen such beauty like in Krakow. And then you look around this square, and in each pod, there's just a clump in football shirts.
Yeah.
And they've gone there not a morsel of information of where they're going. They're going because it's that stag culture. It's that let's get leathered, and we've only spent 10 quid, and we know full well for 10 quid we're going to be absolutely blottoed. That's what they're going for. And then you see on these airplanes, like the way they speak to air cabin crews, it makes my nerves bad, and that was one of the topics. And maybe Denise might spoke to you about this, but this is the thing that I keep getting asked over and over again: should alcohol be banned on airplane travel? And I do think it's worth thinking about. Now, people might say, well, it's for people who are really nervous about flying. And well, then, you can go to the doctor and you can get a relaxant for that. You don't need to, therefore, like you said, down a bottle of vodka and become a yob on this very small form of transport, offend people. Passengers around you are hearing all sorts of things that they might be nervous as well. There's so many elements of life where I feel drink destroys a lot of elements, and that's one of them. But just touching back on the blame game, I've got a family member, they won't mind me saying this, because I've spoken to him at length about this, about him being so drink dependent. It's unbelievable. First of all, the denial, that's number one. Non-acceptance, number two. And going back to what I said, the blame thing, blaming everybody in his household that it's their fault. He's not happy about the relationship. He's questioning whether he wants to be with her and all sorts of things like that. No, take ownership. The problem lies with you. The problem lies with the fact that you consume exactly what you were saying, Dave, that volume of drink daily. The fact that the children don't know what time their dad's going to fall through the door, or what mood they're going to be in, or basically how mean he's going to be. He's going to come in that door and he's going to be so leathered. He's going to have a sting in his tail and say some really unforgivable things and wake up and go, oh, do you know what? I was drunk. I can remember what you said, for those children.
Yeah.
And it's all those elements. And me and you sit here today and go, well, for me, certainly you're a little bit less than me, but it's a distant memory. It's something that, you know, it's what they say, it's toxic. It can be toxic.
It is toxic. I mean, I did a post today on Instagram talking about relationships, a toxic relationship. It's like being in a toxic relationship
Yeah,
and you're scared to leave it because you don't know what life's like without that thing in your life, you know. And
yeah,
when you stop and you've got to deal with your emotions on your own and you don't know what's hitting you, you know, it's so difficult. And that's why, you know, the one day at a time thing's really good. And I never encourage people to go, do you know what? Just give it up forever, because that can be too daunting at times.
of
And like
course.
yourself, you went 1 month, 2 months,
Yeah.
3 months, and before you know it, you've chipped up 6, 9 months.
Mm.
Then all of a sudden you feel, do you know what? I've had a sober birthday. By the way, you're the same as me, a Cancerian, good
I am.
girl.
Yeah, yeah.
And a sober holiday. I mean, my first sober holiday, I was up every morning at 6.
Same.
It was amazing. We won this holiday on the Lorraine show. She sprung it on us right at the end, and it was a villa out in Crete in the mountain. It
Oh,
was
lush.
absolutely beautiful, right? And we had an infinity pool. When normally I would,
Get you.
oh well, you know, I was never one for getting up late with a hangover or anything. I would still get up early, but I'd be literally sitting there like crumped over. I got up every morning, got in the infinity pool when no one was awake, and I watched the sun come up every single morning. And it was the most beautiful experience, you know, in the
Mm.
mountain of Crete.
Yeah,
And I was fresh all day. And when I came back, I felt relaxed. And that's the
yeah.
first time in my life I've ever come back off a holiday feeling refreshed.
Absolutely. No, I can relate to that fully. Like me and Al, like one of my favorite times, like when we've been all over the world, but when my first holiday, when I was truly sober, we rented the bicycles, we were up, we had breakfast, you know, 7 in the morning, we were up, we rode, Dave, till 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Just literally, we had no plan. We just kept driving the bicycles. What we saw, the volume of photographs. Now, I'm going to go back to like when I was 29, 28. You went on holiday, you didn't physically wake up, right, till 10:30, 11. You woke up, it's like, oh my God, the heat instantly hit you, the humidity, right? Rather than go and have a Sprite, you'd be like, oh, should we go to find go on, you know, with the strip or whatever, go and find a bar. You're having the first drink at 1 o'clock, you go back, have your shower, get all dolled up, and you're going out for your meal, more drink, more shots. And that was it. And I look back and I look at photographs and it cringes me, truly, because what I've learned, the biggest self lesson for myself, is the beauty of the world, the phenomenal wonder of our world, and how you never have that by doing what I call the holiday hamster wheel. Which is the
Yeah,
holiday hamster wheel is just wake up, eat, drink, party. That's it.
yeah,
And if that's your idea of a holiday, it ain't mine. You know, now I want to come back and discover. And even now, I can sit and look at all my holiday pictures where we've been so blessed to be and discover, and the pride, Dave, that I feel. It's off. You talk about endorphins. It's
yeah.
off the scale. It's off the scale because that's the person that I'm supposed to be.
Uh,
I've hidden behind that Malbec for so many years. And I'm not going to sit here with you now and go, oh, it's all self loathing. I've got over it. I've forgiven myself.
yeah.
I've gone, it's part of who I had to be to get to where I am talking to you this afternoon, you know?
Yeah, my God. It's like me talking, honestly, what you've just said. It's I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, in my life, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And I was asked the other day to do a talk in a college in front of a load of 16 to 18-year-olds, right? And I was like, oh my God,
Good God.
standing there and they're going to be throwing cabbages at me and whatever. But I thought, "Do you know what? I'm going to do it because if it helps one person reevaluate their relationship with alcohol, it's worth trekking over there to do it, you know."
Absolutely. Of course
And
it
this
is.
is why I make this podcast, why I do the things I do, because I want to turn my experience and knowledge into support for others that are struggling right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, what the one point I want to get across today more than anything is it's not a case of going, oh, am I an alcoholic? Because you might not be an alcoholic and you're probably not an alcoholic and you don't want to wear that badge. I get that. But what you have to see and notice about your personal self is why? Why the volume? Why do you associate the word weekend with being that person, with putting that cardigan on? It's like going, right, it's Friday and Saturday. I am always gonna wear that orange cardigan. Do you know what? Wear a pink one.
Mm.
And that's how I feel. I never ever want to wear that orange one because that's the person do you know what? I don't particularly like her. I don't like that person.
No, I hear you, and it's interesting what you said about your lovely mum earlier, where you say you will never get over that. You've got to
No.
you got to learn to live with it. Like my
Yeah.
mum, whenever I go and see John, her husband, there's a lovely little memorial garden by her front door. Basically, it's
Oh,
beautiful, right? And whenever I go down there, take 5 minutes and I talk to her and I tell her what I've been doing, but she knows anyway, right?
yeah.
But it's when you stop drinking, it's not like you've kicked it out of your life and it's gone forever. You've got to live alongside that now as well,
Of
because it's
course.
always there looming in the background. And if you're vulnerable, if you're not living a positive life, if you're feeling slightly like you're a bit of a victim and you've got the FOMO of why can't I drink like normal people, and its ears will prick up and it go,
Mm,
hello, I'm in
mm,
here. You might be
mm.
6 months sober, you might be
Scratching.
20 years sober.
Mm.
You've got to learn to live with it like grief, that you have got to always be mindful that it's there ready to pounce. And that's how I live my life. Do you?
100%. It's like you go to a restaurant, you sit down, you've booked your table. First thing, the basket of bread. Sorry, I don't want any bread. I'm fine, thank you. And they look at you. No, I'm fine. I don't eat bread. Okay. Oh, okay. That's the first thing. Next thing, wine list. No, I don't drink. And I'm like going, am I a ball ache? Am I driving him crackers? But then I have to go, this is my life I want to lead. I don't want bread and I don't want a wine list. And I'm okay. Tap water or bottled water. No, I'm just taps. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Thanks. And you can see them, and suddenly I'm giving them rage, and it's like, and then I go, I'm really sorry, and then I go to the person I'm sat with, and I go, why on earth am I saying sorry? Because I've just asked for no bread, no wine list, and tap water. I
Yeah.
have done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that's 3 elements before I haven't even chosen, what I'm having for my starter, that I'm apologizing for being this better me. And being a better me, I'm still apologizing for it.
It's
You
crazy,
know,
isn't it?
it's nuts. And I'm sure that people listening will listen to this and go, oh my God, I've had that, the 3 things before you've even ordered. And it's a life that I want to still continue love living, but I've got to stop apologizing. Like it was Jakey, my eldest nephew. It was his Holy Communion last Sunday, and of course, all my sister-in-law's family were there. My dad, my brother, all our family were there. Beautiful picnic in the garden after the ceremony, and we're all there. And it's this tone. Why do people do this tone? You probably hear it. No. Oh, she doesn't drink.
Yeah.
Why,
Yeah.
why, why can't you just look at how we're talking now? Why can't you say, oh, Lise don't drink? Oh, Dave don't drink? Just say it. Why does it need a certain, like, this undertone of irony? Like, oh, because they're not owning it within themselves. So it becomes a thing. And,
Yeah.
oh, she'll be fresh as a daisy tomorrow. Passes the rosé.
Yeah, you're right. And if you say you've given up smoking, or you're you wouldn't sit there on a bench with a crack pipe, would you? So it's crazy.
I know, exactly. You wouldn't, you don't give a heroin addict heroin. You don't,
No,
because they're going to die. They're going to die if you do that.
I know. It's the only drug you have to justify not taking, and we have to change that narrative, and we're trying. I mean, I'm working alongside Alcohol Change UK. We're doing a Stop Sober Shaming campaign,
Super.
but I've
Yeah.
done it myself, and I think most of us have. Like, oh my God, you're boring. I was in a pub a few years ago, and there's someone in there, bloke with a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Like, why are
Yeah.
you in there? What are you doing, mate?
What have you come to a pub for? Because he wants to. Yeah.
He wants to enjoy the company, and this is what people
Yeah.
don't remind themselves of. You're there not not for the booze, you're there for the company.
Yeah,
And
the people.
amazing time, and you can remember everything about it. Go home, you're in bed by 9, lovely.
Yeah.
And get up in the morning, fresh as a daisy. Wonderful.
Now, here's one for you, Dave. Right, be honest with me now, right? So let's say you go out with all your male friends tomorrow night, right? And one of them does something unforgivable. Then he rings you or texts you and says, "Did I do something?" Do you tell them, or do you go, "I don't remember, mate"? Do you push it under the carpet? Are you a, "Oh my God, they did that," or do you tell them?
Probably tell them.
Yeah. See, that's one thing I really struggled with. Like,
Really?
because yeah, my friends would go, "What did I do?" Well, you were there, you were sober. The worst thing is when there's been an argument and you know the truth, and also you know who was the trigger, and that person going, "It wasn't me, it wasn't me," and it's like, "Oh God, I know it was you, it was you,"
Yeah.
and I don't want to sort of set the firework off because I do remember,
Yeah.
and I did see it, and I still struggle with that now when you know the truth.
If it helps the situation,
Yeah,
if it doesn't, there's no point, is there? Really?
back away.
It's like living a whole new life, isn't it?
That's what I feel like. But a
You know
life that and I'm not talking about money in the bank here, Dave. And I swear on my beloved mum's ashes, it's the richest life I could ever want to, ever want to live. And I don't ever want to go back to that person. And I won't.
Oh, do you know what? I feel exactly the same. I've taken the blinkers off
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
see a completely whole new view of life now. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm getting that from you. And Lisa, I'm so grateful that you joined me today.
Oh, you're a dream. I could literally chat with you for hours. I love it. Yeah.
That's how I feel. And this is the
Oh,
first time we've spoken, isn't it? So
yeah, I know.
I'm truly grateful that you've joined, and your message of positivity is so apparent. And I hope this helps people as well if they're struggling. You know, I often say it's not the quantity, it could be 2 glasses a day. If that
Yeah.
affects your life, then you've got to just look at it maybe and see if you can change it, you know.
And don't be in denial. That's a good thing.
Exactly. And
Don't tell people, if you are trying to back off, please don't say to people, "Oh, well, I only had 2 and 2 waters, 2 and 2 waters." If you had 4, just say you had 4.
yeah,
Really own it. Just for God's sake, own it. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's okay.
It is okay. It's
Yeah.
absolutely okay. And once you own it in yourself, that's when the work can begin. That's what
Yeah.
I'd say. Thank you so much, darling. Lovely.
Thank you, sweetheart.
I hope we talk soon.
Mwah.
Thank you.